Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video today, I'm just going to talk about my pregnancy, the babies, and give you a little tour of the nursery. So if you're interested in seeing all this, keep on watching and make sure you also subscribe to the channel to see a few more videos. So let's just talk about, I'm just going to start with the pregnancy, how it went. So basically I ended up losing my water at 30 weeks. I broke. I thought I was actually peeing and it turns out that I just remember a big gush coming out and it was like really green. So I was like, what is going on? Obviously I broke my water, so I just ended up making my way to the hospital. Scott drove me, obviously, and as we got there, they just checked me and sure enough, my water had broken. And it looked like baby A had also pooped inside of me, so that's why the gush was actually green. And so they transferred me to hospital because my babies were probably going to be born pretty soon, so they didn't have a NICU at this hospital. So they transferred me to a bigger hospital where they have a NICU and whatnot. So I was stranded in the assessment room for a full night and day. They were assessing me and just waiting for an available room for me. So I stayed there just on a very uncomfortable stretcher, and Scott was sleeping on the chair and he was very uncomfortable and he wanted to come home so he can sleep. So anyways, they ended up transferring me to a room where it was actually a private room, so it was kind of nice. It's not something I had asked for, but they gave me a private room. And once I got in there, I was thinking, okay, so I'm thinking, when are my contractions going to start so I can get on with this and just get the hell out of here, right? So yeah, that wasn't the case. Basically, I was stuck in the hospital for 2 weeks. They had me on antibiotics to make sure I wasn't gonna have an infection caused by my water breaking so early. So they gave me antibiotics for 1 week, and then 1 week later, it was a full moon, and I remember my mom saying, I bet you anything you're gonna have your babies tonight because it's a full moon. And I was like, I don't know, we'll see, right? So anyways, that night, she told me that during the day, and that night I ended up starting contractions at around 8 p.m. and they were like not so intense, they were just starting, and I was like feeling it. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is completely different than what I'm used to, so I'm pretty sure these are contractions. So anyways, Scott was there and he didn't think that the babies were going to come out. I didn't even think the babies were going to be coming out that night. So I figured, like, you can go home, you need to work tomorrow, you can just go home and rest. And by that time it was 11 p.m. and my contractions were getting pretty intense at that time, and I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing sending him home. But anyways, by 12 o'clock it was pretty intense. At this time, I was like very much in contractions, and the doctors came to evaluate me and measured me at this point, and I was 3 centimeters dilated. I was really hoping for a natural birth because the 2 babies' heads were down and they were fairly small. They were only about 3 pounds. So I was thinking, well, there shouldn't be any reason why I wouldn't have a natural delivery. But that night, anyways, they gave me a shot of morphine to just try to control my pain because I did not want the epidural. And so they took me to another level and brought me to another room because they said, I'm going to have these babies tonight. And I was like, are you kidding me? They're all asking, where is your husband? I'm like, he's home sleeping. Okay, so anyways, so they transferred me to another room, and they were just kind of watching how I was doing, and I was not doing well. Well, contractions were pretty strong, and I ended up starting to feel really, really hot, and I ended up also feeling really dry. Like I have no more saliva in my mouth. It was really dry. I had a hard time talking. I was in a lot of pain actually. And they kept asking me, do you want the epidural? Do you want the epidural? And I'm like, no, I don't want that thing. I don't think I need it, seriously. So anyways, I just kind of didn't go with that. But at this point, I ended up having a fever and also had an infection. Yeah, so the doctor said that I would have to have a C-section, and I was very upset because that is like the last thing that I wanted was a C-section. I was really hoping for a natural birth. So anyways, I was like, so should I be calling Scott? Because, you know, am I having these tonight? They're like, yeah, you should call him right now. So you should come, because anytime now these babies need to come out. So we kind of waited. They waited for Scott to get here. I called him, and then he got to the hospital. He had never seen me in such pain. I was in so much pain though. Oh my God. They ended up putting a catheter and all this stuff, all this fun stuff, I have to say. I was so thirsty. I was begging the doctor to give me some water, and I remember her saying, I can't give you no water. You're going to surgery. I can't give you anything. And I was dying. I was like, I'm going to die. Like, if you don't give me water. I was so dehydrated. They had a hard time giving me an IV because my veins were not good. I was so dehydrated. So anyways, I was rushed to get the babies out, and they gave me a spinal, and I didn't feel anything, and boom, the babies were out. They were born at 4:41 and 4:42 a.m. and healthy as can be. They were very small, so 3 pounds 8 ounce for Silas, 3 pounds 13 ounce for Brock, and they didn't even show me the babies. They just took them right away. They thought that one of them had a hard time breathing, or so anyways, Scott ended up going to see them at where they took them. And yeah, so I ended up seeing my babies. I went to the NICU. That's where they had my babies. And I went to the NICU and seen them for the first time, and it's really like the greatest feeling ever, just to see, you know, your babies. Sorry. I just remember like how small they were, just tiny little things, and I was like, it was so hard to see them all connected to all these wires, and you know, just to see them like that, it was just heartbreaking. But at the same time, I was really happy, you know, that they were healthy. I just wasn't sure what was going on, because one seemed to have a little bit of a harder time to breathe. So anyways, as time went on, they ended up noticing that the babies had an infection in their blood, because my placenta had E. coli. And I would think that this was caused because they left the babies in there while one of them had pooped, and I was still draining this fluid out for the 2 weeks until they were born. So they had an infection in their blood, so they had to give him antibiotics for a full week. So to give antibiotics, they obviously need an IV, and babies' veins are just so tiny, right? Their veins are just so small that it's just hard to get a vein. They weren't able to keep the IVs very long. The babies kept just pulling them out. It just wasn't working. So they ended up having to put a pick through them, which is a catheter that's inserted inside of their vein, and it goes from their foot, their leg, and it goes to the heart to feed antibiotics. Silas was doing fine with this pick. He didn't have any problems, but then Brock had a bit more difficulties. They called me, the hospital called me, and I was recovering from C-section, so I wasn't allowed to drive. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. Well, I could go somewhere, I just wasn't allowed to drive. So I found it really hard that I couldn't make my way to the hospital just anytime I wanted. I was waiting for Scott to go to the hospital. And since they were still in the hospital, we had to drive there every night to go see them. So the doctor called me, and she wanted to speak to us, and it seemed pretty urgent. So I was like, what could possibly be wrong, right? So I just called Scott, and I told him, like, whenever you're done work, like, we need to get our asses over there, like, pretty soon. So the doctor called me again. She's like, where are you guys at? Like, we need to speak to you. And I'm like, we're on our way right now. Like, he had just got home. So we made our way there, and Brock was not doing so well. He was just, I just remember him just being connected to, like, way more stuff than his brother. And he was moved to another pod, which was a critical pod. And I just, I went there, and they spoke to me, and they told me that he had a blood clot. And I was just like, okay, so what's going on? So basically, they have found that there was blood in his urine, and they assessed him to find out what was wrong. So they ended up finding out that there was a clot blocking his left kidney. They thought so anyways, because they did an ultrasound, and it looked really blocked around that area. So there was no flow really going to the kidney, so it wasn't really able to drain. So they were talking about what needed to be done at this point. His hemoglobins were so low, they needed to do a blood transfusion. He was anemic at this point, and so they told me blood transfusion needs to be done, but because I didn't have any blood ready, because they take a week to evaluate it to make sure the blood's perfect, they had to use someone else's blood, so which is fine. But they did a blood transfusion on the poor little guy, and then they were telling me that there would be damage to the kidney, and we don't really know how much damage, but anyways, so they had to put him on a blood thinner to make sure that his blood stays thin so it can actually flow through the veins. And they did another ultrasound, and finding out that it wasn't the vein towards the kidney that was blocked, it was actually the main vein, the big vein, and it's blocked with a big clot. I just remember just like freaking out just because I was not even 2 weeks postpartum, and I was really like depressed, and I wasn't feeling very good, and I was really stressed out. I was just wondering, like, how much damage could be done to the kidney. Like, would he have to live with just one kidney? I know people can live with just one, but I was just thinking, like, he was healthy. He had two, and he was fine. And what if something happens to the other one? You know what I mean? Then what? Like, he would need a transplant, and it would probably mean that he can't do certain sports because, it's just like hockey. If he ended up liking hockey, how would he be able to play high intensity sports like that? You gotta watch, right? So I was just thinking all these things, and I was just like, this is crazy. This is something that the hospital did. They ended up, you know, just doing this procedure, and they said that this is like, they haven't seen this in like 6 years. And I was just like, of course it had to happen to my child. Not that I want it to happen to any other child, but of course it had to be mine. So I was just like, you know, when you just had your babies, you just think about so many things, and it's so easy to fall into a depression that I was just dealing with that. Plus our basement had flooded, so we were dealing with a lot of stuff while the babies were actually still at the hospital. So anyways, they ended up staying at the hospital for a good month, and Brock was improving, so his urine was actually good. There was no more blood. So they sent me home with having to draw from the vial and actually give him his needles twice a day. Just sucks. I'm not a nurse. So anyways, they had to teach me how to give him a needle, and I have to give him a needle twice a day for at least till the blood clot is gone. So I don't really know when it will be gone. We're hoping in 3 months, they were saying, it should be gone. His body should be able to actually get rid of it on its own. And the blood thinner is just to keep the flow going. So yeah, poor little guy. He went through quite a bit. But he's strong. He's super strong, and they're so adorable. I'm gonna find out how much damage there is to his kidney soon enough, I'm hoping. So he's got an appointment with another doctor to find out what the damage is. So yeah, so that's what happened to, you know, Brock and whatnot. So but yeah, when we brought the boys home, it was just completely different, because now I had to feed them. There wasn't any nurse to help me anymore. I'm just lacking on so much sleep. I'm sleep deprived. It was just so hard, and it's still hard because they're only 2 months now, but because they were premature, you know, the 2 months now, they're 7 pounds at 2 months. So now they're finally 7 pounds, 4 ounce for Brock, and 7 pounds, 5 ounce for Silas. 7 pounds, 5 ounces for Silas. So Silas is kind of like beating him a little bit now. But he's crazy. He loves to drink. He's a little, like, he loves to drink. He just drinks really fast. And then you have Brock, who's a little bit slower, but that's okay. But I feed every 3 to 4 hours. It's just really hard because I have 2 to feed. It's not just 1. So when you're feeding twins, it's a lot different. I have to feed them at the same time, otherwise they'll be on a different schedule and I'm not gonna get any sleep. So I feed them together, and usually they're hungry together anyways. So I just kind of put them on my ottoman, and I just kind of have like towels that just kind of hold their bottles, and I just watch to make sure everything's okay, and then I burp them, and then yeah, that's it really. So as far as like my body, what happened to me really, I went up to 167 pounds. I was 110 pounds, and it was a lot of water retention. My feet had swelled up so bad. I was really big, all from water. I was really having a hard time walking at the end, and I was having a hard time breathing. I ended up with acid reflux and bronchitis, and I'm so happy that the babies came out when they did, because I was really not comfortable anymore. I was in so much pain. Like, I would get up from the bed, I always have to feel like I was I had to go pee. Like, it was so bad. The baby's head was right on my pelvic bone. It was right down there. It was ready to come out at any time, really. And so it was really hard to just walk somewhere because it was so intense. Like, the pressure down there was so intense. And yeah, so I ended up with just a few stretch marks, which is not very big. I just have a few around my belly button, which you can barely even see. I ended up with a pretty bad abdominal diastasis. If you don't know what that is, it's just your muscle in the middle of your stomach, on the inside, in your abs, just kind of splits apart when to be able to fit the babies, and especially when you're expecting multiples, the muscle has to spread more, and it just creates usually a bigger abdominal diastasis. So anyways, I ended up with that pretty bad. So now it's just to get my stomach back in. It doesn't, it will not go back in until I fix that. So I'm starting to go back to the gym on next week, actually, and it's not to do any hardcore anything. It's just to actually get my stomach fixed. We need to fix this issue. Like, I need to fix the muscle. Once the muscle is back to normal, my stomach will shrink back and everything will be back to normal. My body still looks just as it did before. There's not too many changes. I still have the linea nigra, the little line that goes, but it's fading, and it's definitely not going to stick around because it's not very dominant anymore. I can barely see it. Not that I can barely see it, but it's just, you can see it fading. So it shouldn't be there that much longer. And I had a few stretch marks on the inside of my thighs, and you can't see them, and they're very tiny. And I have just a few on my butt as well, and it's very small. Like, you can't even tell. I can't even believe my body looks like that after having twins. I've like showed like my friends, and they're just like, what? Like, we're not expecting something that looks like that, right? Yeah, it definitely doesn't look bad. It's just my belly button is still out a little bit, just because, like I said, like, I have a pretty bad abdominal diastasis. So once I fix that, I will be back on the right track, actually, to having my belly completely flat again. And I'm not too worried about the stretch marks. They will not even show. So my belly button ring, where it was, it's completely closed up now, and it left like a really dark area on my belly button. But it's fading as well, so I know that everything is getting back to normal. My hormones are going back to normal. Now I just have a few more pounds to lose. I don't really fit in my clothes yet, and I don't know if I ever will again because my hips are wider. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to work on losing a few inches. Obviously, there's still some fat around my midsection that I wanna lose, and now I'm at 125 pounds. So I just show you here. I'm not very big, but I am definitely doing pretty good. It's not looking too bad. My belly button is, yeah, going back in slowly, but it's still out. Like I said, I just have to fix that problem, and then we'll be good. And then this is definitely fading. It's definitely not as dark as it was, and I just want to lose all this here because, yeah, this is extra fat here, and once this is gone, I will be happy. I'll be happy again, and that will probably fit in my clothes a lot better as well. Okay, so I'm gonna have to feed the babies pretty soon. I'm gonna go get them, and you can meet them. Be right back. All right, so I'm back, and I have Brock here. Let me just grab him a little higher here. He's sleeping. So there is Brock. Oh, hi, buddy. Hang on a second. What do we have here? There we go. Oh, who's that? So this is Brock. Oh, isn't he adorable? He likes to make these little faces. Sometimes he's like this. Just sleeping like that. He's so cute. No, they just smell adorable too. So this is Brock. He's sleeping, obviously. But they are identical twins. I find that it's very easy to tell them apart, actually. Their head shape is a lot different. So his head shape is much more rounder than Silas. Silas has more of an oval shaped head. And they do look the same or similar, but I find that it's really fairly easy to tell them apart. Yeah, so, but they are very sleepy, and they're only 2 months. Oh, I just love these little guys. They're so adorable. I just love them. But yeah, I feel so bad. Like every time I have to give him his needle, the first time I've done that, I was crying because I didn't want to do that, for one, and I just didn't want to mess up because I want him to be as normal as possible, and I really hope that he won't have too much damage to his kidney, obviously, and I hope that we can save it, even if there's a percentage working for his kidney, even if it's like 70%. I'd be happy with that. I just really don't want him to have it removed, and I want him to live a normal life and just to be able to have 2 kidneys, just like he was at birth, right? He was healthy and he's still healthy, but it's crazy that it was just a hospital procedure that caused him to be like that. And I was pretty upset, actually, because nobody told me what nobody told me what could happen really with this pick, and never did I think that it could cause blood clot, but at the same time it was a procedure to do because they had to deliver antibiotics, and that was the only way to do it because they weren't able to keep an IV, so they had to actually do that. Hey buddy. So this is Brock. I'd like to put them side by side after so you can see them together. Let me go get Silas. He's passed out. I think that Silas is going to wake up. But they make funny sounds and hey buddy. Oh, you're so cute. Oh. I'm gonna go get Silas. Alright, so this is Silas. Let me just get a good hold of him here. Okay, see how he's a little different than Brock. He's a little more fussier as well. He likes to fuss more. But his head shape is a bit different. It's definitely more oval than Brock's. Hey, bud. Hang on, I think you're messing with my mic. There you go. How's that? Hey, baby? Yeah, sorry, I'm giving you kisses and now he's got lipstick on his cheeks. Hey, bud. Yeah. Oh, they're both adorable. So cute. He's still sleeping. I thought he would wake up because he's the easier one to wake up. And yeah. Hey, bud. But they are getting heavier. He is heavier than Brock, actually, by a little bit. Oh, you're so cute. They're so perfect though. It's crazy how perfect they are. But I find that they look more like their dad, obviously for now. I'm sure later I might change a little bit. Brock seems to be a little bit more like me, but this little guy is definitely like his dad a little bit more. Yeah. And they make so many sounds. The doctor was telling me they make a lot of sounds when they're premature babies like that. And they always make sounds like that. Sometimes they're sleeping and they're just growling like that in their little cribs. Hey, bud. Yeah. Oh, I just love them. They're so cute. I'm gonna put them side by side. You could see. I'm gonna put them side by side so you can see how similar they do look, obviously. But it's easy for me to tell, and I'm sure it's easier for quite a few people actually to tell them apart because they have differences quite a bit. Anybody? Yeah. All right, so coming into the nursery. So these are the decorations on the walls. Gray and white. And then we have the 2 cribs, obviously, in the room. And look how gorgeous this light is. I have to turn it on because it's a little dark in here. And I should probably open the blinds, but I have a little changing area right here, and this is actually from IKEA. I also have a nice little mirror right on top of this changing table, and beside here I have all kinds of things on that little shelf here. All the necessities. Yeah, and these are actually where I put the Sharpies, all the needles into these buckles. And yeah, I just went through a full drawer of diapers in no time. And they were on preemie diapers, now they're on newborn diapers, and now I'm on the second drawer. And yeah, so I have quite a bit of diapers, and they go through that very quickly. You have twins, definitely goes by really fast. You go through it really, really fast. And I still have a few things to do in here. Like I would like to put up this little shelf that we see here. I'd like to put it on the wall. And then I have a little, I can't even think of the word, but you know what this is. And then I have obviously more diapers, and I ended up having this little thing for the baby shower, and you just kind of turn it on, and it's really cute. It does like little sounds like this. It's got lights on the top. Over here I can turn them on or off, and there's also this one. And it's nice because this here actually creates like nice little designs on the walls and the ceiling. Or I can actually play some music as well. I really love this little thing. I just kind of put it on for them here and there at night. And yeah, so here are the decorations on the wall. And then of course they're making a lot of sounds, but there is Silas. He's back asleep. Hey, buddy. It's so cute. I think they're waking up. It's time to feed soon. So slowly but surely they're gonna wake up here. And then this one here is Brock. Hey, Brock. It's funny because sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and he is like way inside these. So I'm gonna have to get a mesh around here because he actually gets his legs stuck in here. And I don't know how he does it because they don't roll around yet, but they really move and they kick and stuff, and they end up all the way at the end of the crib. So it's just crazy. I have a closet. I'm just gonna open this up. Oh yeah, I have a lot of stuff in here. So lots of clothes. I have all that. And a shelf. So all these clothes, we didn't have to buy anything. Scott's mom ended up buying us a load of clothes, and then one of my neighbors ended up giving me all her clothes, and they're all brand new, and I couldn't believe it. So like she gave us like how cute is this little PJ? Like, look at this. I just love this PJ. Like this little outfit, I love this. Tommy Hilfiger, and there's two of these, one gray and one blue. And then we have all the winter clothes as well. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to buy all these coats and stuff, so I think that will be good for the winter. We have some stuff, and then obviously I have more diapers here. A lot of PJs, like these are doubles. This one I only have one, and then I have doubles of these, quite a few doubles actually. And then this one here, I have socks, and yeah, just some other things like little hats and sheets for the beds. And then down here I just kind of put all the pants in here. Like, how cute is that? Like, the neighbor gave us this, and I was just like, this is so cute. Like, how cute are these little pants, you know? So adorable. It's a little too big for them now, but it will fit soon enough. But I'm in love with this light. This is from IKEA as well. Such a pretty light. Just love it. And my mom ended up buying us the elephants and the frame here. You are our greatest adventure, and the little blankets that we have here says the same thing. And yeah. Hello, bud. Hello. Let me put them side by side so you guys can see. And you could tell me if you find they look very similar, or if you find it's pretty easy to tell them apart. So the reason why I don't put these babies in the same crib, if you're asking, is because they are way too active now, and they are hitting each other in the face, and so I don't keep them in the same crib because of that. They're moving way too much. They're not rolling yet, but they are definitely pretty active. They do look like, they just like he's got definitely a bigger head than he does. So, and it's definitely shaped a little different. He's got more oval. But yeah, it's, what do you think? Do you think they're pretty easy to tell apart? Let me know. But yeah, they are very adorable, and I'm very happy. We are very happy. And it's pretty noisy in here. Oh, see, he's hungry. Silas is hungry. He's putting his hands in his mouth. Definitely hungry. So I definitely think that I have them pretty awake right now. But I think that's it for today, this video. Hope you have enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Yeah, so we will see you in the next video, and leave any comments below if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.